This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com, and if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, welcome to your horoscope for the solar eclipse in Scorpio happening on the 25th of October at 9:49 p.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. Now, first of all, a little trigger warning straight off the bat. Sagittarius, if you're not in the mood to talk about grief, that's completely fine. I completely understand that you might not be in the headspace to do so. So feel free to skip on out of this reading and I'll see you in the next one. That's so fine. The reason I bring it up is because there has been an overarching theme that's attached to grief for everybody. The way that I read a birth chart and the way that I can relate that to the tarot is, we've spoken about it before, but every 10 degrees has a specific tarot card that can be attached to that part of the zodiac. And this solar eclipse, this conjunction between the sun and the moon is happening at 2 degrees of Scorpio, and the card for that is the 5 of Cups, which in the tarot is the card of grief. It's the card of sorrow after loss. And collectively, I think that there is definitely an energy amongst us that we can relate to those feelings. I think that probably at this point in life, at this time of consciousness evolution, we're all needing to really let go of the past. And I don't say that as in getting over it, but I say that as in we all have with us, we all bear with us a similarity in terms of having to come to terms with grief and having to really feel it and to allow those emotions to wash through us. There's a lot to be said for Scorpio energy. The first thing that I will say is that they're incredibly brave, and they are the ones that hand in hand protect us from emotional difficulty and also drag us through it. Scorpios feel emotion so intensely. There's so much moving underneath their still water. The water is so still because it's frozen, because they're a fixed sign, which means so Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius are all fixed energies, which means they kind of stick to task and they're very good at staying the distance. So relate that notion to water, to emotion. Scorpios are incredibly good at staying the distance in an emotional bond. And so in that fixity bears the consequence of grief when there's loss. A solar eclipse isn't a time to activate. It might even be an invitation to put tools down for a time. If you're a magic maker or a spellcaster or a manifestor Adams, whatever you are invited to put tools down at a solar eclipse and to allow and to notice what shifts are occurring in your environment and what shifts might be almost feel like they're karmically destined. Your environment is leading you down a path that is different to the one that you thought that you would be down. And if that path has grief attached to it, if that path is bringing up emotions that perhaps have had to be set aside for a time because you couldn't deal with them at the time, then I would take this solar eclipse in Scorpio as the moment to allow some of that water to move, some of that emotion to flow through you. Scorpio rules your 12th house, Sagittarius, which means that possibly in past lives you mastered the Scorpio essence. You maybe learned those Scorpio lessons, and it might also go to show why your sixth sense for connecting with people in an emotionally intense way is so palpable. I think that, Sagittarian energy is very optimistic on the most part and forward moving and confident. There's also such an emotional intensity to your nature, and that has a lot to do with Scorpio lingering in your 12th. To have a solar eclipse in your 12th house is complex, and I wonder that there's probably going to be a lot of evidence of that in your dreamscape. So when you go to bed, and maybe even if you keep a dream journal, I'm not sure if you do, but maybe go over some of the entries that you put down there around the 15th, 16th of May of this year, because that was the first activation of this eclipse. That was it was a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, but it was the beginning of something occurring in your 12th house, a relationship between your 12th house of spirituality and the unconscious, and also your 6th house of the daily rhythm, the daily grind, the daily ritual. So there's been shake-ups in both of those areas for you, and I would say that the access you have to the information that's trying to be given to you through your dreams is going to be really heightened, and maybe you might even find yourself at some gateway of spiritual awakening at this solar eclipse. Who knows? Maybe that's too lofty to project, but it could happen, and if it does happen, then you are working beautifully with the cosmos. Dreams, some people are frightened of dreams, aren't they? I know that I was for the longest time. There was definitely periods in my life where I didn't want to go to sleep because I would just wake up in a cold sweat, having my head filled with all manner of horrible either memories or also fantasies that I believed were memories. Sometimes dreams can be so intense that you wake up thinking that they happened, and you've got to remind yourself that they didn't. There's a lot more research to be done, and I by no means am saying that I have done much. I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm a witch. So, but their dreams can, and depending on which way you look at them, everyone's had a dream book, right? Everyone's sat with a girlfriend and you've told them what you dreamt about, and they were like, oh babe, it could mean this. It usually means this. If you've dreamt about this, it's your unconscious telling you this part of your life is being activated, or it's triggering that memory. So an eclipse in your 12th, if you want to boil it down to bare basics and just say the unconscious mind, there's no denying that exists. An eclipse in the unconscious mind is going to perhaps potentially dredge up or drag up or bring forward some of that stuff that's been repressed for a time to the surface and to the front of your mind in order for you to deal with it now. I've got the Page of Cups, I've got Death, and I've got the Chariot. Now, Death is major Scorpio energy. If Scorpio, the concept, was a picture, it would be this card. This card is the end and the beginning. And the only figure here in the foreground that is not petrified of this change is the child. It's the little one right there that welcomes death with open arms and a flower. Excitement and a shift in consciousness, because their consciousness is so flexible. I feel that you're going to be coming into a space of confidence, Sag. I think that there's like forward moving direction that I really feel from this reading, and that it might have something to do with an emotional connection or an emotional disconnection, but there's definitely an investment here inner heart space in a loving way that has come to an end, and you've got your foot on the gas, you're pumping that to come back into alignment. And this is not to say to repair, or, because what's that phrase? No man can step in the same river twice, because they're not the same man and it's not the same river. I mean, I think I paraphrased that quite terribly. What I mean by that is that after separation in an emotional relationship, or when things have come to an end, a reconciliation of sorts could be beautiful, as long as both parties recognize that the other is not the same person that they used to be, and that if the grief of the loss can be reconciled or felt fully, then this even to me looks like it's the potential of just witnessing, just regarding that end. And this could be a conversation that you're having with somebody in your dreams, and that might be all you need to do. This could be a confidence and a self-assuredness and a search for some kind of closure. I stop myself because I'm drawn to the grief. I'm drawn to the space in our zodiac, the space in our universe where this eclipse is taking out, and with it Venus. Beauty, art, love, pleasure. There's a protection here for you in this grief, and there's a protection here for you in your unconscious mind, in your dreams. So this emotional ending, this relationship or this experience, this heart-to-heart that you've needed to let go of because it's finished, I think that this reading is nudging you into the environment that you can make contact when you're asleep. And whatever communication that you feel is going on in dreamland, as you sleep, as you wake, as you sleep, I think that you'll be confident to take the next step in that space. I think that you'll be confident to say what it is that you had longed to say, and for that to be heard, and for that to be received, and for that relationship, for that energy, for that closure to start to manifest for you. Solar eclipses, as I said, they're really interesting. It's tools down. But what better space to put tools down than when you're unconscious? When you're asleep, when you're off guard, when you're not overthinking or over analyzing. Allow these messages of healing and of love and of peace and of grief, allow them to flood up your dreamscape, and think of how wonderful it's going to feel to wake up from a dream like that. Because that's what I see for you, Sagittarius. I understand that it's been hard, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. And I'm very proud of you and your confidence to set things right in dreamland. That's your reading, Sagittarius. If you'd like your birth chart read, you can head to umaruby.com and make yourself a booking via the readings page. I'll be back with you in 2 weeks at the full lunar eclipse in Taurus. So as I said, this is in the opposing opposite house to the unconscious, okay? This is the 6th. This is the daily rhythm, the daily ritual, your work, your routine. That's also got a shake up in store just down the road. But first things first, and don't compartmentalize, and you don't need to be so literal with the dates as well. But what I see for you in this reading, and what I wish for you, is to get some beautiful closure in your sleep so you can have peaceful dreams. That's what I wish for you, Sagittarius. I'll speak to you in 2 weeks, okay? You take care. Bye.